Hello folks and welcome back to So What If I Sew, or welcome if you're new. My name is Jess. This is my channel all about sewing, dressmaking and all things stitch related, and today I am bringing you a birthday pattern review. Hooray! So we're filming in the bedroom because Adam is cooking a roast dinner in the other room, and he's doing that and that's incredibly lovely and I'm going to leave him to it, but also obviously it would be way too loud to try and film it there at the same time. So we're through here, and to be honest, we're reviewing a pattern, so it doesn't really matter where we are because we've got talking to do and you're going to see lots of stuff on screen. Anyway, so next to me, I have the make. Next to me, I have the fabric I used and all that is left, and we will come back to that. But today, we are reviewing the True Bias Brynn. So, if you are not familiar with the Brynn, here is a catalogue of photos of what the Brynn looks like. It is, I suppose at its core, a button-up cardigan or cardigan dress. It runs from a size 0 to a size 32 in American terms, so that is a 26-inch waist up to a 52.5-inch waist. So a fairly good size range. It's about 14 quid for a PDF. It's not about, it is £14 for a PDF. So obviously there's the cost of printing, etc. But that's pretty good. And you get for that £14, 3 sleeve views and 3 length views. So you have for sleeves, no sleeves, cropped sleeves or full sleeves, and for length you have cropped cardigan, hip length cardigan, full dress. So I'm cycling through images on here. I've tried to balance between both size brackets of the pattern so you get a good idea of how it looks on all bodies. And for reference, it's meant to be for a confident beginner, whatever that means. I firmly believe, by the way, that pattern companies should have a list of their ratings on the website and definitions of what they mean, because it really irritates me to see adventurous beginner, confident beginner. It's like those are all sort of emotional tags for your state, whereas and it doesn't actually tell you like the skills. I think it would be better to list by skill, but you know, I could do a whole separate video on that. I might bring it up in the podcast. We will see. Anyway, I made a size. I think I made a size 2. I did. I made a size 2, which was a 33 bust, a 27-inch hip, and a 35-inch hip. Now, the bust is a little smaller than I am, but I'd had loads of feedback from you guys saying, oh, it comes up really big. No, it doesn't. No, it really doesn't. So we will come back to that in a moment. So here is a photo of me in my beautiful Brynn. I loved wearing this. I wore it to the Royal Observatory for a day out with friends. I layered a big scarf over it and a coat, and I wore it with boots. Really great. So I've had a full test drive. We went into London at about 11. We got home at about 8 o'clock at night. I had a full lunch in it. I walked up and down a very steep hill all the way around a museum. So it has been thoroughly road tested. Now, this is mine here next to me. I'm sat on it. Fantastic. So first things first, I'm going to run through positives and negatives. I'm going to run through a few things you should know, and then as always we will do my final would I recommend it, yay or nay. So let's dive into positives. So first things first, you cannot avoid it. It is the quickest thing to make. So I made this on my sewing machine and on my overlocker. So if I hold it up, hopefully you can see, line of stitching underneath and then full overlocking. And even with that, and I did it over a couple of days because I didn't have very much time, but I'd say I did a sort of 15-minute sessions each time I did it. I would say it probably took me 2 hours in total. It's a very quick sew. And it's so easy. Literally, your back is in 2 pieces. So you have one centre seam at the back, which really helps with shaping through the spine. It really actually creates a lovely, you don't get any pockets of jersey, like it creates a lovely swooping effect. And then you have 2 front panels. Then you have one facing that you need to fold in half and stitch on the whole way around. I then top stitched mine down. I can't remember if it said to in the pattern or not, but I mean, you should always really, because otherwise they just stick up and go weird. The longest part for me actually was adding all the poppers, because I chose to do poppers instead of buttons, because I thought, let's use the interesting side, that pearl poppers would look much, much more interesting. And I think they do. I think they look really, really nice. So super easy to make. It's also easy to make just on an overlocker. So there are bits of it I did with an overlocker only, like the sleeves. I just banged them together because I did not have space on my desk to get both machines out. So the main dress, front, back panels, I did with the sewing machine and the overlocker. But the facing, actually attaching it, all of the sleeves, I did with just the overlocker. And then I swapped back to my machine on a different day to top stitch that down and to do all the hems. But it really was a very quick sew, and I will definitely make it again now because it gets even quicker each time. Really good range of sizes, I think, as well, for a slinky dress like this. A lot of pattern makers make their larger sort of structured floaty dresses in loads and loads of sizes, but lots of them avoid making slinky jersey dresses in a huge size range. So I'm really happy to see this is 0 to 32. It could go a bit further, I feel, maybe, but I do think that's good. And I like that it goes 0 to 18 and then 14 to 32. So it's not crossing over by one size, it's crossing over by 2, 3, 14, 16, 18. Yeah, so you've got like 3 sizes crossover, which is good because if you're grading between 3 sizes, I mean, you still might want a bit more of a crossover, but I think that's pretty good. A lot of places do 0 to 18 and then 18 to 32, which is useless if you are an 18 and you want to grade up or down. You don't have that choice. The choice is kind of made for you. So I think that's really cool. I think the instructions are great. I think they're nice and simple to follow. I particularly like that once they have clarified the sleeve question where you are, from that point onwards they say, although all drawings will show the sleeveless option, these do apply to everything else. Because there's no point. I have seen patterns that go, if you're doing the sleeved option or the sleeveless option, this is how the hem works. And it's exactly the same instructions. It's such a waste of everybody's time. So I thought that was nice. I thought that was good to see. In terms of how it fared for a day out, pretty good, actually, pretty good. I'm going to talk about this more in the things to be aware of section, but it was comfortable. I didn't feel restricted. The fabric I used didn't have a great deal of stretch, actually, and we'll come back to that. It has 60%, but it's still very structured. It's totally opaque. You can't see through it at all, which made me feel a lot more confident in it. But particularly for the sleeves, I probably would have wanted something with a greater degree of 4-way stretch, I would say, because it was a little tight on the arm. I should say, though, it got looser through the day as I wore it, as they often do with jersey dresses, so I wasn't too fussed by that. So, negatives. This is the biggest one, guys, the fabric usage. So, they go to the effort of listing the pattern sizes individually and listing their fabric requirements individually. But the number in the box is exactly the same all the way along, at least for the first 6 to 8 sizes. I stopped checking, obviously, after that because I was so irritated. It told me I needed 2.6 metres. Now, because I wanted to do a pattern review and because I was worried about shrinkage with pre-washing, I bought 2.5 metres. Would anyone like to guess how much fabric I have left over? Write your comments. I want to know your reactions when you see this. This is all of the fabric I have left over. So there is at least, so call that's 1 metre. About, yeah, actually that's a bit short of a metre. Call that's more like a metre. I have 1.5 metres of fabric left. That's a lot of fabric. Now this jersey is not massively wide. I think it's 60 inches wide. It's not wider than what is recommended. You don't have to cut anything on the fold. I cannot fathom why they are telling people to buy 2.5 metres of fabric when I used 1 metre, exactly 1 metre. You cut out a grand total of 4 pattern pieces. No, it must be 4. Hang on, let's have a count. Or maybe it's 6. It has to be an even number. So, 2 sleeves, 1, 2, 2 fronts, 3, 4, 2 backs, 5, 6, 2 facings, 7, 8. That's it. So 4 pieces on the fold, on the 2 layers of fabric. How is that taking up 2.6 metres for anything between a size 0 to a size 10, at least, size 12? 2.6 metres is ludicrous. So I'm quite irritated by that. My plan is, with my 1.5 metres of fabric, I'm going to make another Vicky Sews Andy because this fabric was so comfortable to wear. It was so cosy, really nice. So I think I'm going to whip myself up another Andy that's a little bit more spring themed. But I'd say that's my biggest irritation with this pattern. As I said earlier, you do need something with 4-way stretch. It doesn't actually say that in the instructions. It says 2-way stretch is fine, up to 60%, or actually it doesn't say 2, it just says a fabric that stretches up to 60%. Now this does, but it's not really 4-way stretch, it's really 2. Now, that was fine everywhere except the shoulder. And it was a little tight on the arms. The other thing is it does come up a bit small. Now, I know other people have said it comes up a bit big, so I'm going to clarify here. I am a woman with a 10-inch difference between my bust and my waist, and the same between my waist and my hips. So when I describe myself as curvy, I mean in a literal sort of geometry sense. I have curves. Now, I should have graded between a 6 and a 2, but I didn't because everyone had told me, no, like, seriously, it comes up quite big. Like, don't worry about it, it's gonna be fine. And again, in the spirit of reviewing the pattern, I thought I'll just follow the instructions. I'll do what's there. Now, because again, my fabric was not 4-way stretch, I think that probably would have helped, or if it had been a bit thinner, it would have moved. The buttons did pull a bit. It was not the most secure piece of clothing. I wore a vest underneath. And I definitely next time, I don't know if I'll grade between a 6 and a 2, but I'll probably grade at least between a 4 and a 2. The waist fit absolute perfection. It was gorgeous. But every time I took a step forward, I had to have the bottom popper open at all times anyway, so I could actually move my legs. But the second one popped open every step I took as well anyway, which I don't even think that's to do with it being tight. I think that's to do with me having knees. Because it's right over like your knee there. So as soon as you, particularly if you're going upstairs, standing up from after sitting down for a while, or walking up a hill, that second I spent the whole day surreptitiously redoing it. Like, it wasn't a problem. I was wearing tights, like, it was fine. But just FYI, personally, I would plan to have the bottom 2 undone because of the placement. If you're going to have to walk anywhere at speed, or if, like me, you have quite a long stride, you're going to plan to not be able to use the bottom 2, because otherwise you're walking like a Barbie, like you don't have knees and you're just all controlled from your hips, you're just tottering along. So that irritated me. Also, poppers I think look better than buttons would, personally. I think that might just be me though. I do think they look good, but they are a bit precarious. So what I am considering doing, and bigger busted ladies might want to do the same, is I'm considering putting a secret little popper here, because there's a bit of gape like that, which I'm not going to put on YouTube because YouTube's a strange place. But I might put a secret popper in there just to keep it closed. And again, you might want to do that front of the hips as well, because those are parts of your bodies, when you breathe, they move, and, etc, etc. Anything else on the negative list? Really, I'm still angry about the fabric usage, I'm going to be honest. Now, loads of people in the comments did say, oh, well, I always buy less, buy a bit less of fabric, and, that always works out fine. Now, I normally do as well, but for example, 2.6, I would have gone, it's fine, I'll buy 2. I still would have had a metre left. Like, that's a lot of excess fabric. Like, that's the thing. A lot of people are going, you might be able to get a t-shirt out of it. I will be able to get a full-blown dress out of this. That's way too much fabric. And the thing is, a good quality jersey is expensive, which is why I'm annoyed. However, I did feel great in it. I did feel really comfortable. It's going to be fantastic for working from home. I will make another one, probably make a black one. I might make it in a slightly thinner or more mobile jersey. I think that would be a good idea. And I will definitely probably borrow the bust from the 4, or I might just reduce the seam allowance and see how we go, because I was quite strict this time. So, stuff to be aware of. I've talked to you about stretchier jerseys. I would definitely give that a go. I've talked about poppers and buttons, a little bit risky, and the bottom ones do just open when you walk. The other thing I didn't do, but I will do next time, I would, if you can, get your hands on some stretch interfacing. It just helps that facing move a little bit better with the fabric and be a little less rigid. Might be something to consider. I think it says it in the pattern, but I normally ignore that because I'm like, I will use what I have in the house and you will like it. But no, on this occasion, I would probably recommend using a stretch interfacing. So, $1 million question, would I recommend it to you? Absolutely, I would definitely recommend this. This is the kind of garment I would see in a shop and buy it like that. Like, it looks stunning. I'm already planning at least one more. I really fancy the vest cardigan view for the summer. I think that would look really cool with tailored trousers. So I'm thinking about that as well. Just with the caveat that you might want to road test it before you wear it out for something fancy. If you have a larger bust, also play around with the type of bra you wear with it, because I found that certain styles of bra made the gaping much more prominent than others. So definitely, have a play around, see how it fits in your wardrobe. But I do think this is going to become a wardrobe favourite. Like, it feels so comfy on. I like how slinky it is. I feel nice in it. I don't feel frumpy, which is often how I feel in jersey clothes. So that was really nice. And I really enjoyed using poppers, even if the hemline instructions are some of the worst written things I've ever encountered in my life. I did enjoy putting them on, and I did enjoy wearing them. It made it very, very easy when going to the loo to like unbutton and rebutton, because poppers are just a lot quicker. So I would definitely recommend it. So I hope this video has been useful. I hope you've enjoyed watching. It has just been my birthday. I will have just worn this out, so I will share photos of me wearing it here and on Instagram. But I really, really enjoyed it, and it was a nice quick make, and my first make of 2025, and also my first make 9 done. Hooray! So next week I'm hoping to bring you the final wedding dress vlog, because we should now have our wedding photos. By the time you watch this, we should have our wedding photos, so I can put them in the vlog and you can actually see what my dress looked like. So stay tuned, that should be coming to you next Wednesday, and I can't wait to get back to some regular sewing. January has been incredibly busy. A lot of different work deadlines have coalesced. So now trying to get back on to building in some recreational time and some me time and doing some sewing and stuff. So stay tuned. But if nothing else, there will be a very lovely Andy coming your way. So thank you so much for watching, folks, and I will see you next time.